Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode, episode 192, for November the 15th, 2022. And let's just jump right into what I've been working on. I've been a busy boy, as you are about to see. So all of these little star blocks, well, they're not that little, are all part of Stephanie Stitch's Mosaic Star Quilt. Now I have about 2 more blocks to make, and then I put them up on my design board and get them all organized and can add the sashing pieces and everything else. It's coming along quite nicely. You've heard me mention this pattern from Stephanie Stitches. Very easy to follow, and I think it's going to be spectacular when it's done. And that's the key. When will I have it done? I just got an email from Stephanie yesterday asking me that when I get it finished, if I'd come on to her show and talk about the quilt and show it as well. And I said I would. I just can't give her a date for that yet. But I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks I will have it done. The reason I don't have this done at the moment is simply because I've been working on Christmas bags. Now, I have 4 of them finished, and they each have a different design on them. Right now, they're hanging up in my Lucy room until I get the rest done. I have 5 more that I've got the embroidery part done, but I need to assemble the bag. And this is what's taking me some time. Actually, the longest part about making one of these Christmas bags is doing the actual embroidery on it. And I do it on the front and on the back of the bag. Assembling the bag is really relatively fast. And in fact, I have my handles made now, and I have the linings made. So all I need to do is cut out my corners for the box bottom and basically assemble it. And that's what I'm going to do later today. And I need to make about a dozen of these bags. So yeah, I still have a few more to go. So that's one reason why I haven't been actively working on the Mosaic Star quilt. But one that I have, and I have at least the top done and it's ready to go on to Lucy, is this. This is, I think this is spectacular, okay? I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, job well done. This was a class with Donna, the hostess with the mostest from Ultimate Sewing, and it was a block of the month. We started it in March, I believe, and she doubled up the last 2 months of instructions for this month so we could get it done before Christmas. And we're all going to get together on December the 14th. Everybody who took the class, we're going to physically get together at Ultimate Sewing at the store to show off our quilts, because pictures really don't do them justice. And this picture doesn't do this one justice. The colors are very vibrant that are in this. And yes, there are a lot of colors. And yes, anybody who knows me know this is exactly my style. Now, I did have a comment the other day because I did show this on Stephen and Walter Live the other day as well. There's this one person who I don't know if they are being constructively critical or they're just being a pain in the butt. But everything that I've put up lately in quilts, they've made a kind of a passive-aggressive type of comment about it. For this quilt, for example, they said, well, nice enough, but the colors, there's far too many colors in it, or something to that effect. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. But you don't know in a comment like that whether somebody likes something or they're being critical. I really don't. So I actually went, this is kind of nasty of me, I actually went to their YouTube channel, and lo and behold, they have nothing. They have 5 subscribers, and I think they're just using it as a placeholder for videos they want to watch, because there's nothing there that I can see. They're not a maker. They're not a creator. However, maybe they are. And I don't want to turn around and say, you know, they're just making, you know, an offhand comment meant to hurt. I don't know. It may be constructive. Yes, colors and design are not to everybody's taste, and you expect that. But I did make a reply comment to this person, and it basically said, well, thank you for your thoughts. And I do appreciate constructive criticism. And I said, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of your quilts. I think you know what I meant by that. But nevertheless, I digress. I am very happy with this, and that's all that really matters, okay? We're all our own worst critic, aren't we? And this was a quilt that I'm really happy with because it was pretty complicated to put the pieces together. I mean, that outside border with the stars in the corners and that, I put that together. I spent a day ripping it out and redoing it because I had pieces in the wrong spot. It gets very confusing. I had sticky notes clipped to every one of the pieces to try and keep things in order. And I'm very proud to say that that effort was worth it because I managed to do it. And there were other spots along the road with this quilt too that gave me some hell. But the final outcome is what's important, and it looks great. Now it has to go on Lucy and get quilted, and I haven't decided yet what I'm going to use for a quilting design. I think I want something very open, something with curves in it, because there's a lot of straight line pieces in this, so the curves usually complement. I don't know why I do that. That's usually my rule of thumb. If the quilt is very linear in design, then my quilting's very curvy in design. I think I read that somewhere that you should do that. But anyways, that's usually what I stick to. Not always, but usually. And yeah, this is a busy quilt with all the colors, so you don't need to add anything more busy on top of it. It is large. It's 95 inches by 96 inches. So it's almost a square. And it'll just fit on Lucy. Walter said to me the other day, see, I told you you should have got the larger machine. I got the 12-foot. He was insisting that I should have the 14-foot machine. I said, no, because it's not going to fit in that room. You won't be able to get around it. He says, yeah, sure, there's plenty of room. No, there's not. But anyways, it will fit. I know that. And now I got to check my backing supply as well to see if I've got some wide back backing that's going to work with this. If not, I may have to go shopping again. So yeah, I'm hoping that at some point this week I'll get this all up onto Lucy. I just cleaned her. She's ready to go, and get the quilting process started. And my goal is this will be completely finished, quilted, the whole bit bound by December the 14th when I take it off to show it off, take it off to the store to show it off. Yeah. So, yep, I've been a busy boy. And I started another quilt. Well, what happened was, and that leads me into what went on this week, is we went, Walter and I, when I say we, Walter and I, we went to a sew day at our local gay club. Yes. Now, those of you that have been with me for a while know that Walter takes a class online all the time, and the guy who does the teaching, he sometimes gets the club as a free hall where the people in his sewing class, anybody else that wants to come, can join in and have a sew day, which is really nice. Well, I decided I would go this time with it. Walter didn't put up resistance, so I figured that was okay. There were only 4 of us, but lots and lots of room. And I thought, well, what am I going to take to work on? I could have taken the star quilt. However, I would have needed to take my portable design wall and hang that up because I'm going to have to put those all on the design wall to decide where I want them to go. And I didn't want to do that down at the club because they don't really have wall space. They have things up on their walls and things like that, right? So I thought, well, I have some projects sitting in project boxes that I put together when I was going to the physical retreat in March, when I went to that. And I never got to some of those projects. So I thought, well, let's take a look there. So lo and behold, I had forgotten about this one. There was a quilt in there. The pieces were already cut out and everything ready to go. So I took that and worked on it, and I got quite a ways into that quilt as well. It took me a little while to had to reread the instructions and things like that and figure out what it was I was really doing, because that was back in March and I haven't opened up that box since. So I got started on that. So that's another project as well. Now, these projects that I'm starting to work on now, once more of the Christmas stuff is out of the way, um, I'm going to have in the back of my mind that some of these, anyways, are going to go off to Project Linus. And I talked all about Project Linus last week. So you know what that's all about. But, anyways, yeah, there's always something to do, right? Um, and sometimes I look at what I want to do, and something drops inside of me and go, and all I want to do is go and lay on the couch and watch documentaries. Not good. I don't know if that happens to you or not. It's like I think what happens to people who have a problem with sugar in their system and the sugar level drops, and so do they. Well, it's kind of like that. But what I have found is, yeah, push yourself. You only have to push yourself for about 2 or 3 minutes, get back into the project, and away you go. Away you go. So, anyways, more things to do. What else went on last week? Well, I gave a Zoom tutorial for one of the people, a friend of mine who is on the Quilter's Way, which is the online group that I belong to. And two of them, actually, two people showed up for that. Well, one I had said she had just gotten a brand new embroidery machine, the Janome 550, which is like the one behind me, 550E. And I offered to give her a hand because, when you first get an embroidery machine, there's a bit of a learning curve. And so we set up a time and away we went. And another person asked if they could join in as well. And I said, sure, no problem. There was a third person, but I guess something happened. That person wasn't able to join us. So there was just the three of us. I didn't think, I thought it was only going to be about an hour long. Yeah, 3.5 hours later, we were done. Well, there is a lot to do, but that's okay. I didn't mind, helping out or anything like that. When I first got my machine, there was nobody there to help me really. Well, that's not true. I took a few classes at Ultimate Sewing with that, but a lot of things I learned by, watching YouTube videos and by trial and error. And so I am more than willing to share what I've learned with people. That's why I have the Idiot Quilter channel. Really, that's it. I'm willing to help other people out with things. So anyways, I hope it worked out for her. Okay. I'm sure her head was spinning by the end of our session because there's just so much information. And you want to know something? I'm not an expert. I just teach what I have learned. That's all I can do from my experience. And I'm always learning more. So anyways, we had that in the past week. And, well, Walter said he wanted to go to Ultimate Sewing because he needed some fabric. He's making Christmas bags. His Christmas bags are going to be very different from mine. If mine are sort of your everyday tote, his are designer. Yeah, and we'll be showing them when he gets them done. But they are going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, I don't want to put myself down on this. I could make as nice a bags as Walter is making too. The bags I am making are a little bit more utilitarian, whatever. They're more functional. Well, in mine, because I basically want to stuff my Christmas presents for different people into those bags. That's why. Walter is making bags that in themselves are going to be gifts. In fact, some of the bags he's making now, and I don't know how many he's making, are for the next door neighbor because the next door neighbor asked us way back in about May. They wanted to commission us to make them some Christmas bags because they love Walter's bags because he had made, we give our next door neighbors, something at Christmas. And, usually I give them something that I've made. And last year, I think Walter had made a couple of bags, and that's what we put their gifts in, and they loved them. And other people they knew had seen them and would like some too. We said, no, you didn't have to pay us for them or whatever. We just make them for you. So that's what Walter's working on right now. Yeah. Um, I would have started it earlier, but that's me, not Walter. So, anyways, they will be really nice, and we will show those when they're done. Okay, so I have started, as you know from last week's episode, I have started the North Pole Christmas tree skirt, and I've decided to record each stage of the creation of that for you to show you. And then at the end of all those recordings, which probably won't happen until after this Christmas, I'll put it all together as one big video. But here is part 2 of the North Pole Christmas tree skirt. So here you can see I've already done the very first piece. And that's what the first piece looks like. And this is what the back looks like. And this white part is the tearaway stabilizer, which I am not going to tear out of this because it's not going to matter. Now, this is where you may want to use the no-show mesh. It doesn't really matter. I think that this gives me a little bit more body, and that's all. So this part is all done. Yay, 1 out of 45, only 44 pieces left to go. This took approximately 40 minutes to complete. But before I even got to this and sewing all this, I had to make some decisions, and I had to decide on my fabrics. Now, in the diagram that I showed you, or in the instructions I showed you, they did use blue. And at first, I wanted to use more traditional colors, red, greens, and maybe some silver or something like that. But guess what? I don't have enough of that fabric available in my stash, and I really don't want to go out and purchase any more. So I looked through my stash and I found this. I forgot that I had this. It has moons and stars on it. It's sort of a galaxy. And I thought that would be great as the inner part, the first ring of this tree skirt. Because, I mean, it shows Santa and reindeer flying across the heavens, sort of a thing. And I thought it would go really well with this fabric. But then I needed to find other shades of blue. Now, in their instructions, they show the blues moving from a dark to a lighter color. So I thought I'd do the same. So then I found this fabric in my stash. And it is still blue, but it has some of the lighter blues and darker blues that are in this fabric as well. So I thought that would go along very nicely, and that'll be the middle ring of my tree skirt. And then for the outside, the lighter one, I found this with a very small print. None of these are Christmas fabrics, but that's okay, because what will make this Christmassy is the embroidered designs and the applique designs on each piece. So I think these 3 fabrics are going to go together very nicely. Yes, they are not traditional Christmas, but you know, there's nothing saying that Christmas has to be all reds and greens and silvers and golds. And there'll be silver, and there'll be gold, and there'll be green, and there'll be red in the embroidery and the applique in this. The next decision I had to make is what threads I was going to use. Now, this can be a little bit tricky. This company uses, I believe, Isocore threads. I don't have those threads. I have Floriani, but my machine is set up to tell me what Janome colors I should use, or the equivalents. So I have an app on my phone that allows me to plug in the number of a Janome thread that is in the pattern that comes up on the machine actually, and find something that's close, the equivalent in Floriani numbers. Of course, you have to have some creative license with this. You don't have to stick to the colors they suggest. You can use any colors that you want. So what I usually end up doing is for the first panel or the first section of a project, I will try to find the equivalent threads in my stash. And then as I'm working on it, I will make a decision at that time when the color change comes up as to what color I'm really going to use. So don't be afraid to do that. Make it suit your taste. So these are just some of the threads I'm going to use, and I have a few more mounted on my machine that you can't see right now. So yes, there are a lot of color changes. My particular
Janome 550E has a 5 um, spool holder on mounted to it, so I can put 5 spools of color on at once, and that saves me a little bit of time, but I'm still going to have to change threads, and that's just part of the process. So I have all of this together. I'll need batting, and right now I'm using Battleizer. Battleizer is a type of batting that's very dense. It's really great in things like this kind of project, or in anything where you want something to lay flat, like a table runner, a placemat, something like that, hot mats. Um, but you could use regular batting too. In fact, in the instructions, they just say use batting. So it's really up to you what you want to use. But I like Battleizer. And Battleizer basically, let me grab a piece of Battleizer here to show you. Move these out of the way. This is Battleizer. And you see it looks like batting, but it's not, doesn't have as high a loft as most batting does. So that allows your project to lay flat. So I buy this by the bolt. I use it a lot and I really like it. And I keep my leftover pieces from this because in some cases you can get away with leftover pieces. And when you're doing the applique in this particular pattern, you can use scraps for some of those pieces as well. Again, you can determine what color those scraps are going to be. They will give you a suggestion. You don't have to follow it. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I have all my materials together. So what I need to do is load the next design. I already have the first one done. The next one's very similar to this, um, but with a bit of a variation. And I'll show you the procedure, what you have to do next with that.
And I don't know if I'm going to get that done for this Christmas. I have a feeling I am not. Okay, so subscribers quote of the week. I have nothing. Nobody has sent me anything for this week. I'm all caught up on the ones that people have sent. So if you would like to send me a picture, no, one picture is all I need, two at the most, and a short little blurb, 50 words or less, about that, I would be more than happy to feature your creation on an episode of the Idiot Quilter. So don't be shy. Get those things to me. I need some to show. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube of the week. Now, this is the YouTube channel called Mona Did What, and if you watched the interview last week, I posted an interview that I did with Mona. Actually, she goes by Monica, uh, about her creative life. So that's already up, and there is a link to that in the show notes below if you've missed it. But here is her YouTube channel as well. This week's YouTube channel is one from a lady that I interviewed last week, and that's Mona Did What. And I hope a lot of you saw that interview because it was very interesting, and I hope a lot of you have gone to her YouTube channel. But if you have not yet discovered Mona Did What, then here it is. And you can see she has a lot of great tutorials on quilting, on doing mug rugs, on doing baby quilts, table runners, bags, all kinds of things. So let's check out her playlist to see what we have in it. So she's got a bloopers reel, camera she uses for making her YouTube. She talks about sewing chats. She has vintage sewing machines. She collects vintage sewing machines and reconditions them. That was in the interview. Painting furniture, sewing and quilting videos. She's got a lot of stuff here. It's not just about sewing. It's not just about quilting. It's about life. And I highly recommend that you check out Mona Did What because it is just great entertainment and lots of useful information. So future projects. Well, I saw this pattern. Actually, it was in my stash of patterns. And I've started a collection of patterns that I think would make quilts that are appropriate for the Project Linus project. Rented lips. What I'm trying to say is, use your words. Project Linus. That's what. And I thought this one called Scrappy Cats would be great for a girl or a boy. So here's what it's all about. This week's quilt pattern is one that I've had for a while, and it's called Scrappy Cats. And I have put the links for you to buy the PDF version of this pattern. But it looks really, really cute, and I think it would be fairly simple looking at the blocks. And of course, you could do it any color scheme you like. Now, the reason why I picked this one to do, I think this is going to be one of the quilts I will donate to Project Linus, which are quilts that are given to kids in need. And the description of the pattern is below. It says that it finishes at 66 by 86, which would definitely fall into the requirements for Project Life for a teenager's quilt, because that's who I'd be designing it for. And I think it would also make a nice girl's quilt or a boy's quilt. Just change the colors up appropriately. It doesn't look like it's a very difficult pattern, as I said. It's all done as patchwork. So I think this will be a lot of fun to make. And so I'm looking forward to getting to it. So that one's called Scrappy Cats. It's by So Fresh Quilts, and it's designed by Lorna Lorna McMahon. Lorna McMahon, I think. Anyways, check it out. Now, I have just posted another interview. This is with Terry Rowland. This is Terry Rowland of T Rose Studios. You can check out her YouTube channel, and there will be links to her YouTube channel and other social media links in the actual interview as well, and the interview is linked below. And just one heck of an inspiring quilter who can turn scraps into the most beautiful quilts. And she loves to work with tiny pieces, as you will see in this interview. So here's a little teaser for the interview I did with Terry Rowland.
Piles. I didn't think I had enough purple, and I just happened to go up to my computer and was on a closed Facebook group, and somebody had just finished typing, "I just pulled the purple out of my stash. I don't know why I have purple. I don't like purple." My fingers were flying to tell her I wanted her purple fabric. And so she said, "Yep, you can have it." I said, "No, I'm going to trade you fabric for it. You tell me how many yards of purple you got, and I'll give you whatever color you want." And she wanted navy. So I said, "Perfect." I said to her, "Where do you live?" Because she could have been all across Canada or down in the States in this group. Right. She happened to be in Black Falls, which is like a 35-minute drive from my house.
How convenient.
It was. I said to her, "Well, I'm coming to Red Deer. Do you want to meet at the mall?" So we did. And I felt like a drug dealer passing packages back and forth with her. Hers, she gave me, were purple, mine were blue, and I've got a lifelong friend now that we talk all the time.
Right. So do check out that interview. Okay, so that takes me to online quilt stores, and this one was recommended by one of my subscribers, and it is called Quilty Pleasures. Gotta love the name. This week's online quilt store was one that was recommended to me by a subscriber, and it is called Quilty Pleasures, and is located in Orleans, Ontario, which is in the Ottawa area of Ontario. So this is their homepage, and they give you their requirements for COVID about masks and things like that. Their store hours, Monday to Friday and Saturday. They're closed on Sundays. Nice to see, though, that they're open on Mondays, however, because so many quilt stores I have known do not open on Mondays. So they tell you basic things. They have kids for classes. Looks like they're a FAF dealer. They talk about and give you up front, which is very nice, their technical price list for fixing your sewing machine, challenges, sit and sew sessions. Yeah, they've got quite a few things here, showing some of their threads and embroidery threads as well. So let's bounce right up into their store. And here we go. We have everything listed right up front, and we have a left sidebar that shows you all the different categories of what they have, and they seem to have a fairly well stocked site. Let's check out their fabric and see what they're charging. Okay, they have fabric by collections, fabric by style, new fabric, and then they have a listing here, and I'm just looking at the prices, and it really varies from about $16.99 to $24.99. And I am assuming, oh, there's one from $25.99. So their prices are kind of very widespread. I think they're a little, just a tight touch closer to the more, the higher end. But let's just double check and make sure that price is by the meter, and it is. So that's good to know. Let's pop back. And let's look at, okay, brands. They have Moda, Wilmington Prince, Northcott, Riley Blake, etc. Looks like they have everybody, pretty much. Let's pop into Northcott. They're saying there's 127 products to choose from. And yep, they have some wide back. I saw a wide back right here, $30.99 per meter for wide back. That's a little more than I pay at Ultimate Sewing, but still probably within the ballpark. Again, there we have more wide back. So they look like they have a fairly good and well organized collection of fabric. So let's take a look at another category. Let's check out, they have bag hardware, bargain basement. Let's see what we've got for sale. Oh, not bad prices with things on sale. So there might be something there that would appeal to people. What else can we check out here? They have batting. Do they sell it by the meter or by the package? Looks like it's sold by the package. Yeah. Okay. Which makes it easier for shipping, I'm sure. Books, feet and accessories, furniture, gift cards, interfacing and stabilizer, irons, kits. Let's check out their kits. Not a lot. Only 6. And none of those are grabbing me. But that's okay. What else? Needles, nifty notions. So what do we have in nifty notions? Now we have nifty notions and notions. So they have it by brand name. Okay, lots of different brands. And yeah, price-wise, about what you'd expect. And it looks like, you know, they have the standard notions. Everybody has notions, and it's all pretty much the same thing, I find. Patterns. Do we have much to choose from here? Well, we have applique, baby and child, bags, home accessories, paper piecing, PDF. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see there's 181 patterns in total, and they're broken down into these categories. So, okay, not a bad selection there. Moving down further, pre-cuts and panels. Well, you know I love my pre-cuts. 10-inch, 2.5-inch, 5-inch, fat quarters panels. Okay, let's check out the fat quarters. And we have about 14 to choose from. And price-wise, yep, pretty much standard. Nothing there that would upset me or attract me in terms of price, mind you. Okay, what else do we have? Proud to be Canadian. Well, okay, so Canadian products, patterns by Canadian designers, I guess, and companies. Let's see, rotary cutting and rulers, yeah. Scissors, sewing machine trolleys, sewing machines. Let's just take a quick look at sewing machines. I think they're a fat dealer. Looks like they are. And okay, it looks like they want you to contact them about their sewing machines. So I wouldn't be buying a sewing machine online. That's just me. I want to see it. I want to be in the store. They have furniture too. Looks like the Aero chairs and probably other things as well. I'm not going to look into that too much. Threads. Let's check out their thread selection. So what do they carry in thread? Designer, Ifina, Eleganza, Invisifil, Confetti, Maxi Lock, Serger Thread, Thread Sets, Treasure, Tootie. Doesn't look like they carry Aurifil, but Invisifil has a good name. So that's all right too, I suppose. So let's see. Yeah, anything I left out? Yeah, they've got embroidery, thread, and prices seem about standard for all of that. I'm not so certain on things like Eleganza because I've never ever bought it, so I've never ever priced it out. Okay, so along their top, machines, cabinets, calendar, classes. Let's check out classes. Okay, they're talking about their fall classes, skill levels. Okay, so they've got these that look like they're all in-store classes. Christmas stocking, circle game, coin purse, crumb quilts. They have a fall sit and sew, portfolio, free motion quilting. Yeah, they've got quite a number of classes and a good description of each one. So yeah, that's nice to see. And they definitely are taking precautions with everything, and they've got it all lined out for you. Okay, tips and apps. Okay, they have some video on tension and an app from Schmidt's about their needles. I actually have that app. It's kind of handy. Stuff we love. Schmidt's needles, tulip needles, Applifuse mat, Stripology squared, grippy. Okay, they've got a few things here that they sort of look like they review or explain. That's a little added bonus, I think. Scrap bag. So, it says, Guilty Pleasures are scrap bag pages, much like every quilter's collection of useful bits and pieces saved from previous endeavors, and like that little bundle of treasures, we'll be adding things from time to time. Okay. So it looks like they're talking about events and things that they have had at the store, useful tips, things like that. They have a gallery, which probably shows pictures. Yes, it does. Does it have a picture of the inside of their store? Nope, looks like it's mostly projects. Looks like they have some garment sewing as well. Yeah, no pictures really of inside of the store, which is too bad, because I would like to have seen that. Talk a little bit about them. FAQs. So, overall, I think this is a site worth checking out. It was recommended by one of my subscribers. Prices are within the ballpark. Looks like they have a really good selection of everything. So, maybe you want to try out or check out Quilty Pleasures. So what's coming up? Well, not a heck of a lot. I have those Christmas bags to finish. There's always projects to work on. I've got to get the block of the month quilt up on Lucy and get that quilted. And away we go. And then I have to pull out all the things I've been making since about August as potential Christmas presents, organize them, and start to decide where they're going to go as gifts. But I can't really do that until I get the Christmas bags done. So that's what I'm going to be concentrating all of my efforts on in this next, as this week goes by. Okay, well, I hope you have a creative week, and I hope you're thinking, and boy, if you're only thinking about Christmas presents right now, you're behind the 8 ball, aren't you? You got to get the lead out and get working on those. You don't want to have people disappointed on Christmas Day, right? So have a good one. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.